Good evening, everybody. It's Monday night. It's only two of us at the moment.
Yep.
Yeah. Ken is doing Ken things, and Martin is out with Haley for.
I was going to say doing Haley things, but we won't.
Oh, yes. big happy birthday to Haley anyway. Hope you have a great time.
Happy birthday, Haley. Not that she'll be watching, hopefully, because she should
hopefully
be enjoying herself.
No. I mean, bad times you're watching us on your birthday.
Yeah, too right.
So we are two people, but we will be three presently. So tonight we've got a community guest. Our community guest is currently still travelling and will be with us at around about 8:30. So that's where we're going to kick off our dynamic duo. I don't know if I've ever been called that before.
I've never been called dynamic in my entire life.
I've been called plenty of things that begin with D, but never dynamic.
Yeah,
that's a regular thing. Anyway, hello and welcome to season 5, episode 14 of the Plastic Crack Podcast with myself, Steve from HQ, and over there is Dom from Boots on the Table, or as is known these days, YouTube's bad boy. Getting your channel.
I'm taking you all down with me.
Channel deleted for breaching terms of service. What is the world coming to? You can't even. Oh, look.
Haley, go back to the pub, girl. God's sake.
Yeah, so Dom had a bit of a set to with YouTube at the weekend.
The thing is, I wish I'd actually justified it in some way, so at least I could say, well, it was that did it, governor. But I have no idea. So
someone at YouTube has clearly lent on a keyboard, and unfortunately, your channel bore the brunt of it. Unfortunately,
but I thought you were going to say my channel bore the tits off them, so they had to do it.
But he's back. All is well again with YouTube, and Dom is back. So
I can't lie, that 12 hours or so was a little bit nerve-wracking, but there you go. We're back.
I don't know what I'd do. I think I'd be sort of panicking, but I don't know. I'd be like, there's got to be a reason for it, a bit of common sense about my dude. A bit of common sense, yeah. Just glad it's all back.
I'm bleeding. Yeah. No, and Ben, yellow card for you, mate. That's all I'm saying. Yellow card.
My channel would have been banned many, many, many years ago for basing tanks.
Good girl. Well done.
Oh dear, glad to see. Someone's enjoying themselves. Right, yes. So tonight is a community guest episode. Mm-hmm. So this is where we invite a guest from the community onto the podcast, and we interrogate them about their hobby past and what they do and how they do it and what interests them. So yes, our guest will be on in about half an hour. So we got half an hour to fill Dom before something interesting gets here.
I'm sure we can manage that, mate.
Want to listen to. As always, don't forget, the Plastic Crack Podcast is proudly sponsored by Boards and Swords Hobbies in Derby. If you're shopping at Boards and Swords, use the code PCP5 when you check out for an additional 5% off discount off your already discounted order. As always, if you need to find anything, just drop Ian a line, and I'm pretty sure he will sort you out with what you need.
He says, I've got it. Come round the cupboard here. I've got something. I can help. Yeah.
We've got so many different overlays now. I keep getting confused about who's what and where's where. So yeah.
Oh, that's all good. Also, if you do want to be a celebrity guest, but if you do want to be a community guest on the stream, because as and when we're a man down, or we just think it'd be nice to have somebody on a regular basis. Drop us a line, usual email address down below, and let us know. We've got a few names still there, so
yes. I was going to call it a waiting list, but that's not really a waiting.
That's a bit grand, isn't it?
That's a bit grand, isn't it? So yeah, we'll be chatting with our community guests about 8:30 onwards, and we'll also be doing the draw for the free stuff, Windy Boat Game stuff, kindly donated by Boards and Swords. For anyone that wants to rig some ships.
You were just saying before we came on that you're really looking forward to doing that again.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. In the same way I would enjoy listening to the Smiths. Not very much. See, 6 minutes past 8, I've already insulted the Smiths and a lot of our viewers.
Love it.
Right, big thank you to everyone that's watching on the catch up. Really appreciate that. Like, share, subscribe. Channels down below. Click and do all the ships, boats.
It's the windy boat game. Get over it.
Although I think Ian has banned the word boat from Boards and Swords.
I think he has to.
Given the amount of time, given the amount of ships that he's built, to have them called boats, I don't blame the guy. I'd be rather irked as well if someone was referring to my hours of rigging as boats. But it's windy boat game all the same. Right, should we see who's joined us tonight on this? Oh, it's a weather update. Do you know it's been absolutely bloody awful here today?
I had to put me thick jumper back on again. It's so frigging cold. It's ridiculous. I know I'm a woolly southerner, but it's ridiculously cold. What's going on? It's
just been really grey and miserable. Oh. Saturday afternoon, I was sat in the afternoon, windows open, glorious sunshine, drinking a beer, and it was a dead nice day. And then we get this. Anyway, that's enough of the plastic podcast weather forecast. Even though it's traditional at this stage. Right. Up first, we've got Lee. Going to catch it live for the first time in weeks. Always caught up with last week's episode. Hello, Lee. Good to see you, mate.
Welcome aboard.
David Baker is finishing his Victrix Celts and Spartans tonight.
Nice.
Now, Paul, you'll have to translate this for me, mate, because I've not got a clue what you're talking about. A cold and moist scamel wheel nut inducing Mercia. Does that mean it's really, really cold?
I think that's what it means.
It's affecting certain nether regions.
I think it's these regions.
Oh, right. Okay. Like smuggling peanuts. Right. Sean's going to be catching up on the watching the catch up, but he wants to let us know it's been pretty wet in his bit of Worcestershire.
Very nice. Yeah. Well, I hope he's got a satisfactory note. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. Ham and Jam is building Victrix Norman shield wall tonight. Benjamin from a very spring-like central Jutland in Denmark. It's not like you, John. Good afternoon from a bruised and battered me in a wet and stormy South Florida. Sounds like a film, that.
It does, doesn't it?
Hey up, folks. Hey up, James.
Hey.
I was actually thinking about. I was talking with my girlfriend about James the other week. I watched this YouTube, completely unrelated to wargaming. I saw a guy. He does food reviews, and he was in London, and he paid £23 for a breakfast.
What the hell?
Yeah, I know. I just thought if Ken and James had seen that, they'd have been how much?
How much?
How much?
They would have had all sorts of aneurysms and all sorts. Jeez.
So awful. Andrew JF, a calm day in the wilds of Kent. Carazet's here. Hello.
Nice.
Rich M. A darkening and grey Stratford upon Avon. God, I've not been there for a while.
No,
There's a Dirty Duck still open in Stratford. That's the only pub I know in Stratford.
I don't know. The last time I went there was my stag weekend.
Crikey.
I don't think I've been allowed back.
Carl, he thinks he's caught my malaise. I've done nothing hobby-wise since last show. I've done a little bit, most of it involving cutting my thumb open. Because I said the thing to Dom, I seem to have bought the world's sharpest craft knife. This thing is like a samurai sword. It's absolutely lethal. As I've cut myself 3 times on the same thumb. Gundoer, good evening, one and all. East Norfolk's evening all. Lionheart History of Miniature. 65 degrees in Washington, D.C.
I'd love that.
Red Steph, hi Steph, how you doing? Ian Wright, Hippo's Hobby Hours, a crisp and cloudy Belgium. Finishing some train pieces and painting some burrows and badges tonight. Awesome stuff.
Good man.
Good man. We always love a bit of burrows and badges on here. Andrea, a dry but chilly Germany. Rogue Trooper, very good evening to one and all. Hello, hope you're doing well, mate. Lazy Pirate Painting. Vout Hendrickson, History and Dice. Hey, Philip, hope you're doing well, mate. Dan, yes. Hello from Los Angeles. He's painting some more Quar today. I am that close. I am that close to giving in and buying that box set because do you know what? It just looked so cute.
Oh dear! You can buy the individual races now, can't you? Separately,
yes.
I believe.
Yeah. I want to paint them up as like World War I French for some reason. I don't know what it is. It's just that's definitely classed as weird shit, though, isn't it, Dom?
That is definitely weird shit. Well, I have to say they are quite sweet looking.
Oh no, they are. My mate can't get his head around them. It's just Not at all. He's not grasping the claw.
just no. Just no.
Not at all. Mark's here. Hello, Mark. Grand Priego. Hello, Anthony. Hope you're doing well. Mobile and Hostel. Mike Jones, Overcast Norfolk. Battle Matt. Hey, Matt. Hope you're doing well. David Benson, Wargames Hobby. Juan. Oh, he's at 19 degrees in Buenos Aires right now. It's getting colder by the day.
Oh, mind you, Buenos Aires. Oh, that'd be fun, wouldn't it? Never been there.
No. Evening all from Steve, painting Bavarians in a soggy northwest England. I actually put a film on Twitter that I was watching tonight, and Steve was the only person that liked it.
I think I feel more scared about Steve than anything else on that.
He called it a classic. Do you know what it was? Hobo with a Shotgun. Brilliant film.
Your viewing habits, Steve.
It's honestly, it doesn't even get to an hour and a half, but it's a brilliant film. 83 minutes of just goodness. Martin's here. Oh, and Martin's here, huh, mate? Evening, just dropping to say hi. Haley's birthday is on wine-related duty tonight, and as well you should be. Hope you both have a fantastic night, mate. Enjoy yourself. Miller's here. Chris Richards. Marky Sparky. Stoic Steve. Who's getting to watch live this week? Awesome.
Hey.
Double Dip. John Clarkey. Yep, John, how you doing well, mate? Jonas is here. Nathan McGowan. Evening all.
Evening.
Andy's here. Ahoy, evening all. Dull, damp, and chilly in Worcester tonight. Shell shocked scenics. I'm trying to say that after a couple of Shep memes. Joseph Kananovitz is here from North Carolina. Partly cloudy at 61 degrees, painting cowboys and stuff today. Darren, second time live he's on season 2, episode 5 of the catch up. That's going back. That's positively archaic now.
It is.
Darren from Kings Lane, you still painting the Warlord ships, Dom? Are you still painting those Warlord ships, Dom?
No, not lately. I haven't done any for ages, to be honest. I should do. I've got a few left to do, so I should finish them off. But
Darren, do you mean the what do we call the World War II one? Is it the
Victory at Sea?
No, yeah, Victory at Sea. Not the
motorized boat game.
Motorized boat game, yeah. Duke Wellington, good day from Mars, Mini Agnostic, Krakenese, Rich M, Little Legions, Red Sven, Brian Kennedy, Paul. Oh, we've seen Paul. He was talking about his unmentionables. Shrink 7. Alan, got to see Dom is no longer on the YouTube watch list.
There's still time. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, the internet.
If the stream goes down, you know that they've got us again.
Louis Baby, Ben Lowry, well hung and done. Yes, he may have said a certain word too many times or painted some nasty symbols on your tanks. I never put stuff like that on my tanks.
No,
because you just don't. You just don't know.
Never done that, and I never use that word in a video.
No. How the hell did they cancel you and not Ken? Now, here's a good question.
Know.
We need answers to.
Who's Ken? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. He'll be back one day, won't he?
One day. Bless him.
Here we got Robin Rose Hoppen. Hello. Hope you're doing well. Gary Bramley. Robin's here. Yes. We could spend 30 minutes arguing about Bolt Action version 3. God almighty, that was an absolute total. I felt exhausted after.
Is there a new edition coming or something?
I've heard rumblings there might be a new edition. And we're not going to talk about female things in Games Workshop because that has just filled up my entire YouTube recommendations has just been people flipping out. I want none of it. I really don't. Okay.
I don't think I feel I want to know that, but I also feel I do not want to know that because if that's the sort of conversation I think it is, I'm worried for humanity. That's all.
It's a rabbit hole you don't particularly want to be going down. No. Traj Annis is here. Hello, Traj. Luke Farrell. Hey, Luke, not seen him for a while, mate. You're doing well. Dermot is here. Dermot Connolly. Am I looking at the Turnip Rusty Boat game, Steve? Oh, is that I've not heard of that. I know there was there was a boat game developed by Shrike Studios, Liz on Instagram. I don't know whether it's turnip, but she developed this, wrote the rules, printed the boats. It looks fantastic. Whether that's what you're referring to. Kevin's here, another Kevin's here. Roger Chrysler, Ontario, cool and breezy. Well, Roger, Ben, it's 40 mil ACW in sunny Tennessee. Okay, let's get the question out of the way. What wash do you use for miniatures?
What for me? I use generally it's either Agrax or it's the other one. Non-oil.
No.
I do occasionally use a bit of AK Interactive washes because they're quite nice and they smell nice. Don't taste nice though. Just in case you're worried. But I did once buy. I think it was Army Painter did this great box set of all different coloured washes.
Oh yes.
I haven't even opened it. They do look good, but I've not even opened them because every time I go, yeah, but I think I'll just use Agrax. I think I'll just use non-oil, and I just do that. So yeah, it tends to be that. I'm a bit boring, really, like that.
Well, I only use Vallejo washes these days. Since I had those incidents with really shiny, glossy Citadel washes, don't use them. I sometimes use Reichland Flesh Shade for flesh shade. If that makes sense. But for the most part, I use just mix and match various Vallejo washes. Hope that helped, Kevin. I'm pretty sure other people will be able to help you out. Oh, yay! The Dirty Duck is still going strong.
Hey, nice.
They once refused me when I was 16. 17. And I went back years later and purposely went to the Dirty Duck to buy a beer just because I could. I don't hold a grudge or anything.
No, not at all.
Yorkshire Green, hello Tim, hope you're doing well.
Hello, mate.
Benjamin, he's putting tufts on bases. Do you know they actually go there instead of on the minis themselves? Whoa, my mind is blown. I never knew that. I just stick tufts to
Benjamin. Can you ease him in really gently with that idea? It doesn't. In the next, you'll be saying the mud needs to go on the bases as well, or something like that. I mean, just ease him in.
Splatter all over the place.
Does it?
Carl's thinking about Quar for Xenos Rampant. That'd be excellent. They'd work really well.
That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
That would be fun.
Would. Yeah, I like that.
Gary Clark, how do hombres? Good stuff. Yes, it was Rutger Hauer's finest. Sod that Blade Runner film. Hobo with a shotgun is where it's at. What's that one where he plays is he a blind ninja? Blind Fury?
Oh, it was. Oh, no.
I've never seen that.
I have. What do you mean I've watched some shitty film and you haven't? What's going on?
I know.
What's happening?
Yeah, do you know what? I've never seen Bubba Hotep and I keep meaning to check it out, but I've never watched it. That's about Elvis. Yeah.
Not seen that one myself.
Kurt is here from Yorkshire, Red Staff. We're getting to the bottom. Hey, David. First time watching Warfare Live. He's been traveling. We're doing well, mate. I played David at Tournament 28. It was a great game. Yeah. Boba Hotep is one of the greatest films ever. Hey, yeah, I thought, man. Yeah, Luke. Hence working most evenings, first time live in about 2 years. Well, it's good to see you back, Luke. You've been missed.
Welcome back.
I think there we go. Yeah, I was right. Blind Fury, cracking. Well, I've not actually seen it, but I've heard bad things about it, which is why I want to watch it. Yes, Bad Taste is the best film ever made. Derek's Don't Run.
I just love the criteria you have for watching a film. It's like you have for beer. It's like if it's the most obnoxious sounding concoction, you'll drink it, and if it's the worst sounding film, you'll watch it.
Yeah. Well, I think the scrotum. I think that was.
That was a particular low.
That was a low point. No. There's a. I'm not going to mention the word, but it begins with C, and it's something bear, and it's about a bear that takes a lot of stuff. Worst film I have ever seen, bar none, just crap. Right, that's weather and films out the way.
Oh, good. Can we get on to gaming now?
Like the one showing it. Well, you can. I'm going to hand over to you, Dom, because I've painted nothing.
Oh.
Well, I have painted stuff. I just haven't finished them yet. I've been working on some 15 mil Soviets and a Tiger tank, which is trying my patience, and also my thumb. I've never seen that either.
Words fail me. So yeah, I've been reasonably busy. So I think a couple of these people would have seen already, so I'll flip through them because they're on the Facebook or on the video I put up today. Well, I rushed off a Salute. I didn't buy much. I only bought 3 packs of figures, but I've painted 2 of them up already. So because why not?
Because why not?
So I did because I just had to get this. I had to get this command stand for my Gallic warbands because it just reminds me of the Oblix and Asterix and all those wonderful good stuff. So so I picked that one up. It's a Foundry model, and I added in a couple of extra from the other pack, including the lady pointing the way at the back, because I thought, that's how we all are, being told exactly what to do by
I asked a question about galls. Is it mandatory that for any gall set there's got to be a severed head?
Yes. it is completely compulsory.
Was that their hobby?
I think, yeah. Well, I mean, everyone's got to have a hobby, right? And it's important. And
stick to like marbles or crochet or something. But,
yeah, no, they certainly do. So yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed doing that. Although it was a bugger to get the figures to line up perfectly, just to get them to be holding the bloke on his shield just right. Yeah. That was an absolute ball ache, but it worked.
Oh, Dom, our guest has arrived.
Oh, our guest has arrived.
So,
do you want to?
I shall admit him to the stage.
Do you want to slip him in gently, so to speak?
God alive, it's like a carry-on film around here sometimes.
Who were matron?
Who were matron? Right. So we're proud to have on the podcast tonight, Tim from Mad Axeman.
Morning, all. Afternoon. I thought that was like live video of you 3 all holding somebody up on a shield when I kind of cheated in the back.
Well, rumor has it we're going to do it at CrackCon, apparently. So
I'm going to get some stripy, get some stripy trousers and a severed head just for the occasion.
Yes.
Welcome, Tim.
Carry one of those around. That way, yeah. No, I'm delighted to be here. It's all grand. I was listening in the car on the way down just to get myself tuned into the vibe as well. But which just shows how much of a long of a journey I've just had back down from Nottingham. Because, I think I got most of the way through the podcast, but if it wasn't for that 50-mile-an-hour section just north of Luton, I'm not sure I would have quite finished it. But it gave me that extra bit, really. That was the bonus. Better than the contraflow. Yeah.
No, well, thanks for taking the time to join us.
Nice, grand. Yeah.
So we shall crack on interrogating you in a little bit. At the moment, we're just looking at Dom's goals. Dom's
the goal of Dom, yeah.
The goal of Dom, and then after this, we will do a draw for the Windy Boat Game.
Yes. I heard about that. Yeah, the Windy Boat Game. It is just a terrible bloody way to spend money, isn't it? That thing. Each time I go around the Warlord stand, I can resist for about 18 months, and I end up just buying a bigger and bigger set, and you go, I'm sure I can do it with just the base set. It's still all the same ships, isn't it, really? But then
you can never just do. There's no such thing as just do.
Actually, no. Right. This is ridiculous. I'm trying to talk about that, and then I'm looking and going, from brigade models, I bought 2 Guernsey Martello towers in 1/700, which look like really tiny butt plugs. They're much smaller than I thought they would be, but I was going to say my wife's from Guernsey, but that's not a link. But it's a link to the Martello Tower over there, which I've got to now build some islands for. But I was sort of expecting they'd be bigger, but I have seen the Cup and Saucer in real life many times.
Good stuff.
That was heading a conversation I was not expecting to head down.
No, exactly.
Plugs and towers, but there you go. Dear.
So what else have you been up to, Dom? Lay it on us.
So I did a load of ghouls. So that's a whole load of armoured noble ghouls that I.
Oh, lovely.
Mixture of Victrix and Warlords. I'm just cracking through. I bought masses of them, so I'm just working my way through gently, ready for CrackCon, where they're going to go and kill some Romans, which is always a good thing to do in my experience.
No, they're cracking. I've got some of the Victrix cavalry in as a Gallic or a Galatian element in a Seleucid army, and then I've got some of the naked Victrix guys as well who paint up really, really well. But I don't think I've got any of these armored chaps in. That's kind of the army that I'm promising myself I'm not going to buy, but inevitably I will expand out into, I think, at some point.
I have to say, with all these ghouls, I have discovered a new hatred of shield transfers. I mean, just what a ball ache they are. Jeez.
Oh, just yeah. Well, which ones do you use? Do you use the legendary, LBMS? If they were around in biblical times, they would have been the richest country in the world, sort of thing.
Yes, that's the one.
Because I bought the not LB. There's some water slide ones from one of the flag companies that are really, really good. They do a sheet of kind of that does 48 with battle flag, I think. So you get 48 for about 10 or 11 quids, which is, LBMS, wonderful, all hail their name and all the rest of it. But 48 shield transfers for 11 quid and they're water slides. So your fingernails don't need to be.
Oh, I like that. It's the having to cut round just so they fit perfectly, and then cut down the middle or cut out the boss, and it's like, for bloody hell! If I had your knife, Steve, I would have severed several appendages, I'm sure. Benjamin, yellow card.
And painted shields.
Yes.
Yellow card, mate. That's all
but come on, some of us are not capable of that, so that's not a problem.
Benjamin is thoroughly capable of doing it. Benjamin's painted about 4 million of them.
He's a madman, though.
He's not right. He's not right.
And also don't tell anybody, I did some Frenchies.
Yeah.
So Frenchies Napoleonics. So I've been on a quest to find all the sort of figures I'd prepped and were already half done in the war room here, and just sort of these were some I think they're Victrix middle guard. So I did 24 a while back in a battalion, and I've got another 24 I'm just finishing off in another battalion, and then these were the skirmish group to go with them. So that's them done, which was good. Nice. And they got great coats. It's easy. And I did this Panzer IV. So I did a little video on this, which seemed to go down remarkably well.
Yeah,
that's how I painted it. Yeah,
I watched that. I watched that on my break today, Dom. It was really interesting.
So is that the sort of splodgy Oni technique rather than
exactly
stuff? Yeah.
I don't have a spray thing, so I have to do splodgy oddy. And I kind of just thought that's why I did the video, because you see so many people do really good videos of how to do them. They got airbrushes and they're competent painters, unlike me. So I thought, well, I do it. It's just how I do it, because they come out all right, I think. So I'm quite happy with it. So yes,
I've got some in 15s, but most of mine's are 10s. So you're kind of my cat-handed painting is much less visible at 10s. They're just further away.
Yeah, exactly. And then I finished off some objective markers.
Oh, nice.
So these were, I think this was, I really don't know where I got it from, but there was a box of Rubicon German stowage equipment in my stash. And I've been sticking them on the back of the tanks that I've been making, but then I didn't think I needed these big fuel drums, so I thought, I'll turn them into an objective. Yeah. So, and then the other ones are ammunition boxes, and I found a spare machine gun and a helmet and just put that there. It's just to show that off. So,
I like those buckets. I don't know. I never thought I'd utter the sentence. I really like those.
You like my buckets, lad?
I like the buckets.
It's a lovely pair of buckets, I think.
Yeah, a pair of buckets.
Really is.
Never thought I'd
lovely ruddy colour as well.
Do you know what's really good about that is that what I discovered that water in German begins with W as well, so you can do W on it, which they've both got W on them, so it could be a British objective, English language one, or a German.
Did you buy the Osprey book on German fire bucket colours of the night?
Funny enough, I didn't. I missed it. Damn, and they would have been much more authentic, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Shoot.
I'm sure someone will sell you one second hand at a show.
I'm sure they will. Probably somebody will tell me I'm completely wrong.
Yeah.
So that was that. That's what I've been up to.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my work in progress. So a bit of variety as usual.
Well, like I say, mine was quite short, as in non-existent, because I didn't paint it. Well, like I said, I've got a few things on the go, but I've not actually finished anything yet. Right. It's a rather short update from everybody. So, before we crack on, let's do the draw, shall we, for the winning?
Oh, yes, let's do that.
Right. So, I'm going to work out. How do I share my screen again?
The one that says present. Don't do leave the studio, because we might be in trouble. The one that says present at the bottom.
Yeah.
share screen.
So, reminder: this is our good friends at Boards and Swords. They donated or have given us for our draw this month let me get rid of the screen. Some goodies from the Windy Boat Game. So you had to go on last week's stream and comment there with a suggestion on what your ship should be called to win. So
I think we had Frog Meller again.
We had some amazing names. I might actually, if I get time tomorrow.
Is there like a filter that you're not allowed? Is there an obscenity filter? And then
I don't know. This could be where Steve's.
No, I'll certainly find out if my channel disappears next 10 seconds. Somebody's obviously used a really dodgy, degenerate name in the comments. But right, so here we go.
Drum roll.
Start. Yeah, drum roll. Marky Sparky. Well done. And Marky's, it would be called the Windy Wanderer, as it's a windy boat game. That's fantastic.
Good job.
Very good.
Congratulations.
No one's going to get in trouble for saying that out loud either. So double bonus points for Mark.
Exactly. So Marky, if you send your address to us on the email address down below, and we'll give that to Ian, and he'll get them out to you.
Yes.
Great.
Well done. Thanks for everyone's suggestions. They were interesting. But I think
some of them are publishable, some of them are not. There were some quite amusing ones there.
Frog Meller is. I think that's just going to be a standard staple name. Any time we've got a giveaway, Frog Meller will be.
There was at least a couple of boat faces in there.
That's mandatory.
I think that's traditional. Hey, here we go. And he's in the chat. Oh yes,
there he is.
Congratulations, mate.
Excellent.
Yes, like Dom said, contact us on the email address in the description. Get your details over to us. We'll get them over to Ian, and he'll get them to you post haste. You are based in the UK, aren't you, Marky? Because that was one of the stipulations.
Yeah.
If not, we're going to go back and do it again. Yeah. And hopefully the next one might not be as user friendly as yours.
Exactly.
Congratulations, top stuff. You've got some rigging in the near future.
Lucky you.
Lucky you, really lucky. You certainly
Every time that's the one bit of MDF I've resisted. It keeps cropping up on eBay. That little thing where it's like
the jig thing.
Frame thing.
Like, no, not at all. No, I can't do that. But
far too complicated.
Yeah. As I've said, I've rigged 2 of those ships, and it was 4 years ago. Not tried them since because I've only just recovered. Bloody awful.
Unpeel the fingers.
Oh, like I said, I was flailing around there like Basil Fawlty. Everything was sticking to me. There was just stuff. Yeah. You'd get to the end and it's perfect. You go to the back, it was all sagging down. Could not get in at the right. Dom, you came up with an interesting one. You just sort of did it.
Very good, Robin. Well done. Very good. Yeah, I just got a length of. I can't even remember how I judged how long it was going to be, and I just literally went round a couple of times, up and down, put a blob of glue on it, and then that was it. I didn't do the whole shebang. It was just ridiculous. I mean, I've got more.
I found out glue with the bit where it says tie it together. I soon realised it's like no, dab of glue, hold it on.
Dab of glue, wrap the thing round, and then carry
20
on.
20 seconds, bosh, you're done. Gorilla Glue or not, Gorilla Glue wins.
No, mine was super glue with a sharpened cocktail stick.
No, that's too many implements. You just got to squeeze in with the Gorilla Glue, and then it gets everywhere, and then everything sticks. That's the secret. And you can
you go to my school of modelling, Tim. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely.
I just cut with lots of swearing. It was just the only way to do it. Right. So, Tim, welcome again for joining us tonight. Really looking forward to picking your brains about your wargaming journey. So, as with all the guests, let's start off with the traditional. Where did it start? Was it throwing rocks at airfix soldiers?
Of course it was. Yeah, I think. I think there were Lego buildings involved as well, just to
good stuff.
Do that kind of terrain thing. So, that's probably where I got that real keen eye for military colour. So it would be the US Marines defended between the red and the blue bricks and stuff like that. I think me and my brother progressed from Lego to go Lego, airfix soldiers, tanks. Brilliant. We can blow things up and do stuff like that. And then I think it's fairly soon there was kind of some, giant set of rules with rifles firing 18 and pistols firing 9. And then I think because we had a school teacher who was actually into wargaming. Very, very different to wargamers today. He was a lithe, young, athletic. No, he wasn't. He was just big old unit, and they ran the after school war games club. And I think that was when we discovered average dice, and suddenly we thought we were really cool and clever. Because it's like, my God, they're not these. Whoa, there's some special magic thing.
Yeah,
magic, a green one, a red one. Yeah. And then you get sucked into the evil world of WRG from that. And where I grew up, there was bizarrely, it's sort of in South Lincolnshire, and then there was a shop which eventually became Gallia, who used to do vacuum terrain at the end of the day, and I think they did a 10mm metal range or something. It's a little company called Gallia.
Oh, I vaguely remember them. Yes.
Yeah, but before that, the shop was selling Hinchcliffe stuff, which got you into like 25mm metals, and in those little cardboard boxes that were sort of, the cardboard was almost slightly damp and not really well made, but then the blue bit on the top that they stuck the postage label over, and then you'd have to, even like the Perrys you do now, you have to peel off all the little bits of, what would it be, cotton wool or something like that in it. So it started by getting into 25mm, probably. It was sort of when 15mm was bubbling under as a thing, but it was 25mm, and it was a huge WRG 5th or 6th classical Indian army, and had I painted up 100 lambing longbowmen, and I can still see the buggers now, and because it was one pose. And
it was
quite hard to make them interesting. They were like,
I remember that. I can still remember them to this day. They literally, it was one pose, wasn't it? And those Indian armies, you had like 120 longbowmen in the armies.
Yeah,
like,
that
was it.
In the middle. Yeah, and it was just, but it was kind of, you end up being, because you're young and you're a bit of a knob, and you end up really, yes, exactly. You end up young and a bit of a knob, and you end up competitive with your people at school. And I think my game plan was basically put 100 Indian longbowmen out, and the WRG 6th terrain was like 1 foot by 18 inches pieces. So 4 marshes would cover the width of the entire longbowman to a depth of 2 feet, and which basically meant, because my mates were all 14 and 15 as well, and no one was clever enough to work out, go around the flank. So all these Roman legionaries would move at half speed across this marsh forever. And like a week later, the longbowman would have shredded them, and I thought I was a genius. But then I ended up, this was when the worlds, or some of the ancient worlds, people went around each other's houses and to do the early rounds, and then it was in somewhere else, or some club hosted it. It's completely, it would be illegal these days, care of the community and metric evaluations. It'd be really weird. Yeah, like longbow jab. No, 200 custom.
No, they were medium, weren't they? They weren't long.
Yeah, medium infantry longbow, 2 HCW,
2-handed choppers.
Yeah, but you could make the general. Yes, 2 HCW. But you could give the commander, who was on an elephant, any sort of weapon you wanted to have a figure. And then there's this thing, I just can't remember, in 5th or 6th, where you could start the battle by issuing a commander's challenge to single combat, because obviously rules were really bottom up and literal then, and nobody really thought it through. And you go, well, my guy's on an elephant and yours isn't, so we'll lay this challenge down every time. And then the other people come back up, we dismount, so you have to get off the elephant. And it's like, okay, so my bloke's got armor, he's got a 200 cut weapon, he's got a javelin and a longbow, because I've stuck them all on him. And then the other person would decline the challenge, and then I think he'd be like up +1 in all combats, because the other person's army was led by a weakling.
Cowardly.
Exactly. But going back to this thing, so my genius strategy with all these as longbowmen, and then some guy who I now know, Steve Metheringham, actually, who plays Marty now, who's he came around, he was like an adult, and he must have turned up at some spotty kid's house, having driven from Leicester down to Peterborough, and kind of tabled me in about. Yes, quite right. So it should be. And he kind of tabled me in about half an hour, and I was like, "Oh, there's more to this than I thought." Thank God. But then it kind of goes on, and there was actually thinking about your goals when I came on screen, and then I kept this army. I remember at uni, because I went to Loughborough, and there was a Wargames club at Loughborough, and started doing a bit more stuff. But they wanted to play Shock of Impact, but that's not happening. So we didn't do that. But I worked out that I'd just not painted eyes on them because that was too hard. And so I spent, I don't know, a term painting all the eyes on. And then I looked at them, and it was basically 200 fried eggs staring at me. And then I thought, no, this looks shit. And I painted them all out again. And then when I finished it, I realized that eyebrows is quite important to making eyes work on Wargaming soldiers. If you don't, because there wasn't the internet and stuff like this and magazines and things to make you work this out. It was only literally I just sort of finished painting the last one. Eyebrows. I've done that twice, and then I ended up selling them on eBay, and I think they're doing them or something now, and it's been kind of 15 mil. Yes. Yeah, that would be it. It was some sort of
it was almost the time.
Yeah.
Oh, a Maiden Guard. Yeah, I'd forgotten about those. Oh, they were very exciting as a young boy. They were. Because they had their boobies out, and they had skirts and boobies, and it was just like, my goodness me. What's going on?
Hinchcliffe and Lanning didn't make them, so you had to get them from somewhere else. It was like,
this is bring back memories. Yes.
Yeah, they were like medium trick, I think, but without armor, very definitely.
Oh yeah, no armor. They were like mediums, I think, from what I remember.
Yeah. And then
Sazzy probably got them under the counter in a brown paper bag or something.
Yeah,
you have no idea.
No. It was. But we were young, we were innocent, and it was before Channel 4, so there was very little else that a young lad could get interested in at the time. So so kind of got into that, and then that was when 15 mil ancients started coming in. I think I had a couple of old Mike's Models era, or the tail end of Mike's Models, early what are they now, Essex miniatures, sort of first generation Romans and things like that. And that's when the 15 mil kind of problem that is now many Bisley draws of stuff started happening. Very much sort of ancients done, but then it does of course end up leaking into stuff. So for a while I did quite a bit of the Peter Pig PBI rules for World War II and Spanish Civil War, which is, I think that's kind of when you start going, my God, there's that going from the really literal stuff that was WRG 6th, and then going to 7th, which had some clever top-down mechanisms into it. It was like, rules design's a thing. It's not just these men stab each other, let's roll the dice for each stab kind of thing. It was like, okay, so they've thought about strategic movement and tactical movement, and how do you build in these big sweeping maneuvers on a battlefield where everybody, the march was. It wasn't particularly, in retrospect, it wasn't particularly great, and it ended up quite painful, particularly 7th. But it was seeing new mechanisms come in that had been thought through, and then on the ancient side, the big kind of wow revolution was going into the DBX world, because I was always in that that ancients WRG world. I've never bought or played any GW stuff at all. My whole thing purely through historicals all the way. But just all these things. Then you start playing Peter Pig and going, okay, they've thought about it and just gone, actually, why do we need measurement and movement and grids? So you get into sort of more of an appreciation of what the rules are trying to achieve and where they're trying to put you in the command structure. And that's become such a big thing now with Lardy stuff and other rule sets and so many different mechanisms and different game systems, that I find it really fascinating to think about what is the author trying to achieve and where they're trying to put you in. And then I think I've been out of 25s for quite a long time, until I now play Art de la Guerre, which is sort of, it's like DBM if DBM was at version 6 or 7 and had been written in English by a Frenchman. A bit weird, but had some of the corners knocked off it. But it's kind of the big ancients competition circuit. Big, we're talking an ancients competition circuit. It's 180 people in the UK. It's not, and I was just in Nottingham today with Will from Seventh City, who's like Lord of the Hobbits or something. He's a big cheese in the Hobbit League, or League of Hobbits, and that does MESBG. And there's like 1,500 people play that in competitions in the UK, and that's a tiddler compared to the GW world of craziness of 40k and people literally stabbing each other and fighting each other, whatever they did in that one. So it is a tiny little world of people that and you go around on the circuit for. And but one of the big things is kind of it's international. Mm-hmm. This particular flavour of rules being French developed. There's a circuit in France. They've got a version translated into Spanish. There's an Italian version. The Germans are now playing it, and me and some of the other guys from Central London, which is a whole other story. We quite often go on overseas trips to go to competitions, and because we're all old and going on holiday is a bit boring, so we all kind of tag extra days on and try and do a few military museums or sightseeing. This year earlier we went to Spain and we flew into Seville, and then we went to the Alcazar in not the Alcazar, the Alhambra in Granada, and then there's always a castle on the road somewhere between any two places in Spain. Did all that, and then did Cordoba, and then did a 2-day competition in Alicante, and then flew back. So we kind of, it's become a structured holiday thing that all our wives kind of go, well, we know you're going to be sat in the pub talking about wargaming, probably more expensive, so feel free, we'll see you in 5 days. It's kind of that sort of thing. So yeah, there's a whole thing that bypasses GW entirely, that covers a number of different historical periods, but the main kind of meat of it has always been ancients in 15s, and as I say, coming back to 25s with particularly the magic of the new plastics and how much that's changing has changed the industry, and they're all sort of on their kind of second generation, and particularly the Victrix guys. I'm just still, although some pikemen, which I drilling hands, putting metal.
Tim, we actually raised this last week when I said, is it acceptable in this day and age to be drilling out hands on figures? I know Dom would agree that it's not.
Yeah, they should be burnt in the hell. That's all I'm going to say.
At least the plastic ones are kind of soft enough that you can do it with only injuring that finger while I was doing it, which is painful. But it's just kind of the spears on any plastic figure, except probably some of the GB ones, are getting close to being thick enough to be kind of war games things. But so many others, it's like, look at it, it's broken. Look at it, it's broken. And I sort of struggle to think, how does a company design them and go, yeah, they're lovely, they're brilliant, but they clearly will break. And you go open hand and metal spear, or you go thicker spear like the GB ones, which are on their sets of Romans and Arabs and stuff that are a bit too kind of thick. So it is annoying, but then you do sort of feel you're doing some modeling, don't you? You're doing something. It's a dreadful word, but craft related.
Oh yeah, no,
I was American. That's such a big part of the hobby as well, to do it. And I suppose the other thing that I'm in the middle of doing is I've just, because of I think it was Storm of Steel, I did actually go onto eBay and buy a nail polish stack of shelves.
Right.
And which has screwed up my eBay search history terribly. I'm listed all sorts of things now. But I'm looking at it going, at what point do I actually put my hand up and go, it's all contrast, isn't it? Because they're really good, and I hate the fact that they're really good, but they do sort of work. So I'm kind of drifting towards that, and with some of the plastics, my paint collection is becoming less Vallejo and a bit more contrasty, even though some of that involves buying stuff from the Evil Empire in those little pots that the lids throw the paint all over the floor, unless you buy some 40 quid extra that seals them to the top of the table or something that I'm just not prepared to do.
It's interesting, I know on Yorkshire Ken on his podcast is the question, is it contrast paint? He's not a fan, is he, Ken? I don't think
no.
But I've got a few, rarely used them. I think I've used a Templar black one, and Gilliman's Flesh. I think that's quite. But all the other ones I bought, I've just now, and I bought some army paint. They're not bought army paint. They called Express or Speed.
I think they're called. I can't believe it's not contrast paints, aren't they?
That's the ones.
And I spent a small fortune. I spent about 35 quid in this box, and I've used 2 of them.
Yeah,
it was when I was painting that Legions Imperialis last year. I watched a video of some guy, and he was using these guys. I thought that's brilliant, and I tried it. And I thought mine looked like crap, so I ended up having to buy another sprue off eBay because I'd completely doused up the other ones.
Howled it up.
No, honestly, they look terrible. I just wish. The thing is, though, I don't undercoat in white or grey. I undercoat in brown.
Yeah, and that doesn't work with contrast.
It doesn't work.
This doesn't work. No, I've alternated between white and black over the time, and I think for contrast, because it's just Halford's car paint, and which is a brilliant undercoat and really cheap. Well, if you live in the UK and you're near Halford's, but so it's just bang it all out with that, and it's actually. I think if you start with that and you're doing the whole army, because a lot of my newer 25s are kind of, it's not bolting onto old armies or stuff. So if you've got something from you painted 30 years ago and you're adding in a unit, it's a bit weird moving to contrast because it's just such a different style of painting. But starting with a whole new set of things, and I don't do contrast only. What I've found is you'll use them for a lot of things, but then add some block colors onto it. Some of the Galatian infantry, some of the favorite stuff I've done recently from the Victrix set with those shield transfers from Battle Flag. So you make the guys up, you spray them white, and then I cover them in something with a ridiculous name. What's it? Yeah, on we used to do a Mad Axeman podcast with the guys during lockdown just to kind of keep ourselves talking and record it. And we did a whole kind of thing on a quiz on, is this a real GW paint name or is it some bullshit we made up?
I like that. That's cool.
Might be Skeleton Horde or Grunter Thor or something. Dark Oath Flesh. So you just whack in everything with Dark Oath Flesh and then do Vallejo Flesh over it as the highlights, and it creates almost like 3 layers in a really simple way. So I've used it for that, and I've used it for cloaks where you do highlighting. So it's not contrast only, but for getting stuff done that needs bold colors. And again, because I've never done the GWE roboty Ring Wraith, whatever they're called, or Orc Angels of Ganarth or whatever it's called, stuff. I think some of that does really suit it for some of the colours, and you can see that works well. But that's the point. That's why I feel kind of bad that I can look at my slightly still disturbing thing for nail polish that I can't stop seeing, and see contrast paints taking over more and more of it. And I'm not sure I'm comfortable with myself about that. It just feels like I'm sort of copying out, but.
They're just another tool in my book. I just think you just use them how you like them. I mean, I'm quite happy. Like you say, I don't use them exclusively, but I will in different projects use them quite heavily. But I think fundamentally it depends on the color you're undercoating. If you're doing anything other than the grey, a light grey, it's really, unless you're going to put a white or a lighter color underneath and then do the contrast, which rather defeats the object.
It does. Yeah.
There isn't any point. But I love things like Gore Grunter fur, or no, not what is it? Is it whatever that one is? Fur, the fur one, the Gore Grunter fur thing, which is a brilliant sort of reddy brown, which is great for for gingery Celtic type people. Yeah, there you go. Cool.
Yeah.
I think that basilicum grey is very good. The black is excellent. The snakebite leather, I think it's called, is also very good as a brown. I use a lot, but some of them I never touch.
I think I must have a dozen different leathers, and they all probably look about the same, particularly on.
Yeah, I think there's not much difference. And by the time you've given it a bit of a wash, which you probably shouldn't do on a contrast anyway, but once you've done that and then you've done a bit of highlighting, you can't really tell the difference anyway. But
no, I think that's right. So I think they're they're really good. But I think I bought too many, and you find that some they just don't work. Some are just too thin, stuff like that. The other one I found is really good, although it needed to be the version 2, is the speed paint. That's what they call the Warlord speed paint. There's a holy white that's just a kind of grey off-white, but the grey sort of obviously seeps around the edges. So to do something that's just lost that slight edge of white is quite a good one. It looks like nothing when you're putting it on, and then you look at it once it's done, you go, that's quite subtle. That does work quite well. I've been using that for the sort of, is it rhinothorax, or is that a line from a Kaiser Chiefs song? I think that bit on the thing that's the armor made out of linen on these guys, it works quite well for that, and then you can sort of paint around it. But you have to make sure you're buying the version 2, the 2.0, because obviously the version 1 ones bled into each other and reignited, and then got swept under the carpet quite quickly, I think.
Yeah.
Did either of you ever? I know it was about 10 years ago. Remember the army painter dip?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Did you ever use that?
Yes. Yeah.
That was my first experience of washes, so to speak. Was those things?
Yeah.
They were, and I don't know how many figures are still at the bottom of a can. What I didn't realise is that you could actually just brush it on rather than dunking it in, and you'd hold them on a pair of pliers, and invariably they'd fall off, and they go fishing around for the figure in the bottom. I mean, it worked. It worked.
Yeah, I can remember seeing people like doing your block painting. One of the ones that I saw a guy, he used a drill. So he'd modified a drill so a figure would go on, he'd dip it in and go, and this thing would spin around.
Well, he was a single guy. He single guy. Didn't live. No. Yeah.
I was going to say, you can't live with anybody if you're doing that.
He had a very scared dog as well.
I never tried it myself, but I think having seen some of the results, people doing mass armies really, really quickly.
Yeah.
It's like going back in first. Did anyone ever use Magic Wash?
Oh, I don't know that one.
Was that thing they always used to talk about on TMP that they made up with like some floor wax thing?
Clear floor polish.
And like 2 quarts of a litre of cat piss and some.
I back in 2005, I was doing a Flames of War Sikh army in the desert, and somebody said that the best way to do it is to use Magic Wash. Basically, it's clear floor polish, and I just mixed it with a bit of paint, like brown paint, slopped it on, and it was just. I was like, I was never been so impressed. It was just instant shadow, and it was brilliant. I painted an entire platoon in about 2 hours. It was really good. I'll admit, I accidentally tasted clear floor polish, and it tastes like apples. I wouldn't recommend it.
You say that a lot about a lot of things I hear.
Do you know that this all explains your taste in beer and also films.
20 years ago, I experimented with clear floor polish, and
and it's all done.
And
I think it came out because again, I was not particularly. I was never a 3-layer painter. I was a block painter, and which was fine on 15s because that was sort of the style as they were, and then. As I was moving back up to 25s, that army painter dip came in the tins that always cost too much, and you only ever got 3/4 of the tin before it dried up solid, and then the skin on the top and the rest of it you could try and cut out with a knife and then injure yourself and all that kind of thing. And so it became, when you paint 25s in 15mm block style, they do look a bit rubbish. And then this product comes along and you slap it on, you go, my God, I'm a genius. It's brilliant. And it's doing this really clever shading and stuff like that. And I suppose you've got to keep the floors clean because you're dropping the bits, aren't you? That's the thing. But so I thought it looked great, and now I've almost the contrast paints I find on white are giving me a lighter, more colourful effects on.
Mm-hmm.
And I now look back at particularly this sort of, I've got a load of Gothic foot and a very late Roman army. That's a mix of the Gripping Beast and some Foundry figures that I went, all over with the army painter stuff. And you look back at it, you think, looks like their barracks were in cell block H. It's not great. Not as good as I thought at the time. So, I've overdone it, or whether it was overdone or whether it's too thick. And you always end up going, do I get the light one or the mid one or the painted black one? It's kind of. But yeah, I spent a lot of money on 3/4 pots of that before it dried up, and sloshed it all over stuff. But yeah,
boy, did it stink as well, didn't it?
Yes, it really. You never get the lid back on properly.
No,
about 2 or 3 times. It was just like those like droppy bits around the bottom of it. Yeah.
But so I have still got it, and I did use some actually on some buildings a while back because I thought I'm not going to use my expensive washes, and I'm not clever enough to make my own. So I thought I've got some of that stuff. So I got out an old house brush, and just slathered it on with that, and then left it outside for a fortnight to dry and the smells go down.
Stop stinking your house out. Yeah.
Because the other thing is, it took forever to dry.
You've never had slugs in your garden?
No cats or dogs from the neighbour come near the house, and small children also, which is a bonus, really.
Did the grass stop growing all of a sudden, though?
Well, we had to have the garden done. That was probably why.
That was probably why. At least the magic wash with the clear floor polish that dried really pretty quickly, and I have one bottle. I think I got like a year's use out of it. I think it was on the Flames of War forum that was recommended. The old forums.
Wow. God, yeah, that used to be a thing, didn't it? Until that all went slightly weird and they had to close it down or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I used to spend back in sort of the mid 2000s. I used to spend quite a lot of time on the Flames of War. I got loads and loads of tips from it. I was heavily into Flames of War. But yeah, clear floor. I don't think do they actually still make clear floor polish anymore? I have to check that out.
Well,
have a bit of
it's a big thing.
Part of my life, I'm afraid. So it's
yeah.
No, but I used to have to like lurk on all of these forums because about 10 years ago, I ended up sort of defaulting to be the guy carrying the can on the BHGS BrickCon convention because I've been which was up in Manchester for a long time. So I've been going to it for forever, for like 15 years or so, and then JD McNeil, who was running it, kind of stopped and retired, and everybody looks around for someone to do it, and I'm like, yeah, I spent 30 years in the trade show industry, and that's kind of my job, isn't it? It's I've got to do it. And it was sort of, I knew that at some point this would kind of come around to me, so I then end up doing this thing with helping run the BHGS website and do all the marketing for that and managing the database and running BrickCon with a few other people, and you end up having to become like not really an expert, but enough to blag it and be credible on loads of different forums, because you'd have to go onto these forums to promote the show and promote the list of players who've signed up and do the announcements and answer the questions from somebody who's going, well, it's a bit more expensive than last year. And it's like, well, yes, it is a non-for-profit and we don't make any money. And this is why we've done this and why we've done that, and just pick all that. So I ended up being a member of so many different forums under either BHGS names or Mad Axeman as well. And Flames of War was one, but that became such a big, fast-moving forum with so much of a big competition scene on its own right. It was really a monster for a while, absolutely huge. The numbers of people who were playing that until they all kind of did whatever they did to it in was it version 3, version 4 or something?
I think I played my first game of Flames of War in 2004, it would have been. Sort of when I got back into the hobby. And then version 2. Was it version 2? I'm actually in version 2.
Right.
I contributed some fiction to the
wow. Okay.
To the rulebook. But we played that for a while, and then I don't know. That's when we started to get into War Machine. We wanted something a bit more fast paced and with big steam powered robots punching the crap out of each other. That seemed a bit more entertaining at the time. But no, Flames of War, I mean,
so much these days, isn't there, that you can butterfly across between. It's just not like when I started, when it was a monoculture of kind of ancients was almost felt like it was the thing that had events, and then Napoleonics people presumably all had big sheds, but they all wrote their own sets of rules and never talked to each other because they were disagreeing about whether going into square should be part of the rules or should be abstracted within the oval. And it's only guns anyway. So and WRG was this kind of monolith, and they were focused on the paper, scissors, stone, and colourful uniforms of ancients. But yeah, so much has kind of crept up on the rails in different even historical segments now. It's just it's hard to even look back and think that it's the same sort of thing. And we've all got so much information as well.
I've mentioned this before. For me, it's how quickly you can get a rule set. I mean, quite a few of the Osprey books now you can download onto a Kindle. You can have it straight away. Or go on Amazon and get your rule book delivered the next day. I think there's definitely a quickness about it. And
if you look at a typical wargamer, that ability to go online, get a new set of rules, get them delivered, and then put them on yourself and never actually read them within 24 hours is phenomenal. It must just be so much easier for people just getting stuff to fill up the shelves and never read them, and just add to their rules collection. All that middleman stuff of going to shows has been taken out.
Well, that's why I like Wargames Vault. I mean, you just PDF all the way, and you sign them off to get them bound. Yeah, it's just an easy way of picking up rules. Whereas I remember, back in the day, 30 years ago, with 40k. I mean, I had to wait ages for my 40k, and then I got it for Christmas. And then there just seemed to be, because I mean, back then I wasn't using mail order a lot. I had to rely on my parents taking me into Liverpool or Chester to go to the GW store, and that was a day out. It was a day out with a GW store. Whereas now, if I want anything like that, you just jump on numerous websites, pay for next day delivery, and it's here. And there's definitely an instantaneous element to it. I mean, do you think that's aided or is it taken away a bit of the magic of the hobby?
This is kind of this is opening a big old gnarly question, isn't it? And I think one of the things, I sound like I'm plugging a podcast that we stopped doing effectively 2 years ago, but we used to do a thing called "I'm sorry, I think you're an arse." I'm sorry, I haven't a clue, but it would be one of us would put forward an entirely ridiculous proposition and have to defend it from other people. And one of the ones we had quite a lot of fun with was wargaming is dying off and it's a growing hobby and it's all terrible, which you see so many times. And it's utter tosh that's utterly separated from any observable reality compared to what it was, compared to what it is. It's different. It's more. There's so many more different factions to it, segments. Factions? Okay.
Don't start with factions.
No, I know, not start with factions. I chipped in on that. I was to add some jokes, but there's so many different flavors of it, and you should say that rules thing is part of it. There is a gazillion set of different rules now, and it's all the old ones are still there, and new ones are being laid onto it, and the old ones sort of never die; they never go away. So you've just got enormous amounts of choice, and one of the again talking to someone today when I was up around Nottingham, one of the issues with the greying of particularly the historicals hobby is actually the people who are into historicals are now older with more disposable income. So this is when you sort of apply marketing approaches or a marketing perspective to stuff. You go, it's not necessarily that historicals may not be growing as fast as all of wargaming, but it's not width, it's depth as well. But the people who are into historicals are, if you look at what Warlord do with those box sets at the epic scale, that's and Windy Ships is kind of, we're going to produce something that people will drop several £100 on, and you don't, because a lot of my world is kind of competitions, but clearly a lot of these games are not even competition orientated, which is very different to how the GW model of growing their revenues and their business model is. It's like, we're going to keep producing new things that are more competitive to give players an advantage, and you got to buy the latest what's it. Whereas Warlord are going, well, the historicals people will do projects, and we're making it possible for them to buy big projects to do it. And then you look at all the extra bits of terrain that go around, or and then you go into the Lardies and the 28mm terrain and all the terrain setups that's become part of the culture for that and for bolt action. So it's actually, in the historicals bit, it clearly hasn't grown as fast as GW share price. All hail the share price and all the people who managed to retire early off the back of it. But there's just this depth of money to spend and people getting much more into it, because it is a demographic of people with more money and more time. So I actually think it's a golden age, but if you only look at sheer numbers, it isn't expanding as fast as other stuff. But you've got to look at depth, spend, the amount of effort people are putting in, the ability they've got to share it. It's absolutely transformed, utterly transformed. You couldn't have imagined it from, we're having a competition.
I was going to say what Benjamin's actually just said in the chat.
Yeah.
I think in some ways that immediacy of the rules is actually giving more problems, because to your point, Tim, back in the day, you had your WRG, and that was, if you say you were doing Ancients, that was pretty much, maybe if you were really mad, you played Newbury Fast Rules or whatever, and maybe a couple of other rule sets out there, but there was very, very few options. Nowadays, within 5 seconds of doing a Google search of 15mm ancient rule sets, you can have about 100 available to you, and you can have them on your tablet within the next couple of seconds, and that kind of, I think, causes problems. It's a great thing because you can have every flavour you want. But Paul says,
exactly. There's loads of old geezers with money and time throwing money at Paul. What a result! But no, I think it's very, having everybody playing the same rule set in one way is lovely, because then you've got a coherent community. But actually, that also means you've got, pick a number, 70, 80, 90% of people playing a rule set they don't really like. And how many people do you actually play a game with? I go to central London, and there's there'll be 6 tables on a busy night, and there's probably about a dozen of us who play one main ancient set. There's probably another dozen that overlaps who play a Napoleonic set. And as long as you've got that dozen, it kind of doesn't matter if you're the only 12 people in the world who do it.
No,
really.
It's true. Exactly.
And the fact that there's more rules, that if 3 of you go, I'm a bit sick of this, and you can, let's find another one. But you play within your group, and if you look at, I think I run events, I go to events, I kind of manage what's kind of sort of one of the, we'll talk about BritCon in a bit, but if you look at what's happening with the 40k and GW rules, that the guy Zach runs these GT tournaments. I don't know if you come across them, but clearly some people on this podcast play this and will participate. But you've got events with like 1,000 people at it, and then that creates its own issues around those becoming more competitive and having this uniform terrain, and actually the winning the game becomes sort of more important. Whereas I think we're in quite a nice place with historicals, that there's still certainly looking at the mass battle ancients, which is kind of my sweet spot. There's about the same number of people in competitions now as there was 20 years ago when DBM was the monoculture. I do a thing every 6 to 12 months on my website, and I look at all the data from competition attendances. So it's not, well, I think my mate does this and this is really popular. It's like, how many people came to competitions, and how many competitions did they do, and how many people are on this circuit for about the biggest half dozen mass battle ancients rule sets. So you can sort of follow the very small variations. And there's basically about 500 people in the UK who, in the course of a 12-month period, will enter at least one mass battle ancients competitions across the top half dozen or so sets, and that's pretty much the same as the number of people who are in the DBM rankings when DBM was sort of the monoculture for competitions back in 2002, because the BHGS website's got. So that's not really changed, but it's just split into, there's 180 of these, there's 60 of these, there's 80 of these, and everybody's now playing a set they want. And if they want to change, there's an existing circuit they can jump into. If they want to play a bit of both, they can, but there's still 500 people playing. But what you have seen, though, is that I think gaming centres have made it so much easier to organise events. Because nobody now has to go and find a church hall and hire the tables and negotiate with the vicar, or God knows what, for when the choir practice stops or is Sunday school on. You just go to a gaming centre and say, can we have 4 tables, 12 tables in a month's time? They go, yeah, we'll put it on our website, bosh, done. So you end up with an enormous number of opportunities for people to play. But because each set is sort of smaller, it's I think there's a spectrum between this horrendous view of competition players as being like the worst excesses of the, I say the 40k world, which is unfair to anybody who likes that, but now I think it's much more, there's a spectrum between, I go to competitions to play 5 different people and have a game against 5 different people who are not the guys I play down my club over the course of a weekend. And if I go abroad, I want to play 5 completely different people who've play in a different ecosystem. And I want to eat a lot of tapas, and I want to come back with some pictures of the castle, and possibly have a go on a trebuchet, which is what happened in the last trip that we did. I didn't actually go in it, but it was working. But then it's just like, if you approach it as saying, we're all older now, we're all adults. If we know what we're doing, it's kind of, let's use it as to do that, kind of play competitions like gentlemen rather than play competitions to win, which is sort of what we did when we were younger and more knobheads, really. I guess
it's interesting to say that, because I haven't done competition gaming for many years. Probably 7th edition was probably the last time I did any. Oh, actually, no, I did some Warhammer Ancients, but you can't take that seriously. But I don't remember. I really rarely remember those sort of games that you see, or you certainly hear about on other more competitive circuits where people are literally striking each other across the table. It was very rare you ever came across anybody who really wanted to win at all costs. We all wanted to win because that's what you're there for.
That's what you're there in any game for,
Yeah, but at the end of the day, having a damn good weekend of fun and talking stupid things with somebody, as you say, the fact you don't, if you play with a club or group of friends around your house or wherever, that's your sphere of influence.
You're in a club, meta, aren't you? Yeah, you're in a meta.
Yeah. When you go to a show or to a competition, there's a whole load of new people there, and they teach you new ways to play the game. Sometimes that involves trying to clarify rules that you play one way and other people do another way, but that's all part of the fun of it. So I really enjoyed that.
I think what I've said before about I'm not a competitive player, but with the only game I've ever played at a tournament level was X-Wing. Because it's Star Wars and it's throwing dice and it's Star Wars, and we started entering the tournaments because it's we used to play up at St Helens, which is very far away from here, and then we played in Sheffield, and it was just a nice. No one apart. I mean, I had 2 bad games over all the tournaments I went to. 2 bad games. Everyone was there to have a really good time, meet some new players who wouldn't play on a regular basis, learn some new builds, some new tactics, and just generally make TIE fighter noises when you could, which was the best thing about it. And I think for me that was the essence of why I used to go to X-Wing tournaments, was the playing different people, but also being with like-minded people, Star Wars fans who wanted to throw some dice. And like I said, just get involved in the game.
Definitely.
So it was really interesting.
Yeah.
Right. I was going to say, Tim, should we give your throat a rest? Well, we got some news
Oh yeah.
Well, Dom's got some news. I haven't got news. Dom's got. But I'll do the video. I'll do the video.
Okay.
Where is it? Oh, here it is. There we go.
So, news. Well, I mean, there was only one piece of news this week, wasn't there? One piece of news this week, and that's the Perrys have done cows.
Oh, I was all over the internet. Almost broke.
I did.
Cows.
I mean, look at those. So yeah, they've unveiled. I think Alan mentioned this at some point when he was on. I think ages ago that they were doing a whole load of Napoleonic era civilians. Look at that guy.
That guy.
Look at that guy. I know exactly which one we're all looking at. Going,
yeah.
How can I fit him into anything? Really, any sort of.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah. That's genius.
So there's loads of them. So they're all freshly available, and those. I mean, that is perfect for some scenarios. So you can see. I remember somebody saying, and I can't, or reading somewhere, someone saying, "Why are they wasting their time doing civilians?" And then you see these, and you go, "That's why." Look at them. So absolutely awesome stuff. Really good. Brilliant. From the Perrys as usual.
I'll be honest, I was being facetious, but those cows are really good. I like those cows.
Very good, weren't they? They were
this isn't a story that's
have another look at them.
Floor wax as well, is it? No?
I absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Paul's right. Look.
Yeah.
Poor Pally Gothic horror games. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
I think Gothic horror cows is a big thing. It's the new,
yes.
niche, isn't it?
New thing. It's the new thing.
Flames of cows, possibly. Yeah.
Yeah, and Silver Pain as well. Absolutely perfect for that.
Perfect for that too. Definitely.
Great stuff.
Then
I actually met the Perrys today, but I'll come back to that in a minute.
Then the Victrix. I don't know what they're drinking at the moment as well, but blimey, they're coming out with some more. So they were showing some renders for the new Russ range that they're working on. So he looks a chunky lad, that bloke, doesn't he? But,
it is. Yeah.
Some really nice. They are
nice.
So, not sure when these are due out. Somebody will probably say in the chat, but they're coming along nicely. So, again, expanding
the old square shield, round shield debate as well.
There we go. The Russ had to be square, didn't it? I don't know.
They do. Mine are all square. Yeah, mine are all two dragon stuff, but
that's the way it should be, I think. And then from Martin will be excited because it's another way that he can die. Is the new version of Rangers of Shadow Deep, which is this book here, and apparently if you pre-order it with North Star, you get that additional figure. So he'll be excited about that, I'm sure.
Printer is wearing overdrive,
yeah, exactly. And then Test of Honor, new group of Asagaru Command, which are available now on the Grey for Now website.
Those are nice, aren't they? Yeah,
they're very, very cool indeed.
Yeah. Those metals or
they are metals.
Yeah, they're metals. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, really, really sweet. And then I suppose the elephant in the room. You might have heard about this.
I heard, like I said, I mentioned earlier, I heard a rumbling. I didn't know whether it was confirmed or not. To be fair, and I think Robin mentioned this in the Facebook group. It's 8 years old now, and it's got a massive, massive load of FAQs and errata.
Yeah.
And it's.
I was having this discussion with somebody down the club the other day. I think it was Graham actually, who I think commented on the post about it, saying, "Oh, I've just bought second edition." And I said, "I've got the errata, and it's about that thick."
It is. It's ridiculous.
It's that thick. So, and it's 8 years old.
It's 8 years old.
So
I mean, not knowing Graham, I imagine he hasn't got any sets of rules up on a shelf that he doesn't. He doesn't look.
I said to him, Graham, you're not a great advert for this. You've played the game once, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think you're the target audience, mate.
No, not at all.
But it is one of those things. I think it's you're never going to satisfy everybody. I think what I've seen a lot of people commenting about. I mean, and we don't know what's in it, right? So we no idea what they're going to change. There's a lot of speculation about what might happen with it. I think the only thing which genuinely people might bit bit upset about is all the different books that there are out there, that they're all suddenly going to be redundant. Although I think they've said that the campaign books will still be entirely valid. It's just they're going to repoint the troop types to make it more even. So
I think it needs to be as well. I mean, actually 8 years. 8 years of one rule book and all the additions. It's a sensible thing to do. I mean, even that sort of 9, 10, 12 years, and like I say, the errata's got to be carried around in a wheelbarrow because it's just so monstrous. It is, and I think hopefully they'll condense all that errata and FAQs into the new rule. But I'm genuinely interested to see what they do. I mean, having played Bolt Action for years, it'd be a first to me because I didn't really play much of Bolt Action First Edition. I had it. But we didn't play much of it, and then 99% of our games have been Bolt Action Second Edition. And I say, I love the game. I love playing it. It's Hollywood gaming. It's fun. It's interesting. But I can't wait to see what they've done with it. I mean, again, 8 years is more than enough between editions.
I agree.
I was with again in my little trip up Nottingham today. I dropped in on Marcus at Warlords, and he's obviously quite pumped about it at the moment. It's a big deal. They're already starting to kind of work towards it and plan how they do it and sort of plan the tail end of version 2. It means that the GT that is now at BritCon in Nottingham in August is going to be kind of the last big hurrah for version 2. So it's like, if you want to take part in the last big tournament and come away as kind of version 2 champion, and then you can keep that on your email footer forever, which is like really, really good.
That's a good point, actually.
It'd just be there, exactly, yeah. And he said, I don't think they've quite decided yet, but they've got this enormous like trophy of whatever, and he said, maybe we might even do a new trophy so that someone might get to even keep this one. But it's so big that you need a war games room to keep it in. It's a real beast completely.
I think kudos to them, though. What I did like, whether you saw this, that they're already starting to put this sticker on the box set, so that the one, so that you can redeem it for the new rule book, which I think
it's a good choice.
Good for them.
Yeah, well, I think you have to, and that's the advantage of being a big company, isn't it? But it's become sort of the norm. It was like Pendragon. They did something similar when that version of Blitzkrieg Commander came out and didn't quite work, and they were like, right, we're all in, everybody gets a new set, it's just kind of covered out. So that's almost a sign of maturity of the hobby and the scale of the companies involved. So it has to be done like that. Really does.
I'll be honest with Bolt Action 2, the errata, I'm months behind. I couldn't when they started releasing them back in the day. I'd wait for it to come out and I'd religiously read it and just absorb it so I'd be fully up to speed with things. Now, whenever it comes out, I just go straight to the German rules to see what's changed there. Because that's essentially what I use in Bolt Action. But I think I mentioned before, I think 8 years is more than enough between editions, and it's not like it hasn't been successful. It's been a successful game for them. And lots of people, lots of people play it. And Bolt Action content is always quite popular on my channel, so I know people are interested in it.
It is an entry-level game for people coming into historical gaming. I think I would guess, I don't know, I've got nothing to base it other than pure speculation, but I would bet the majority of players who join the historical ranks from fantasy stuff have come in via Bolt Action. And it's an important game from that point of view, I think, to get people into the hobby. And hopefully then they can move on to other things as well, or try other things. But I think, I've always loved Bolt Action. I think it's a great game.
Yeah, it's a proper age demographic as well. You look at the people playing, and anybody who goes graying of the hobby, it's like, no, you what actually that means is you're not playing Bolt Action or a couple of other game systems. You're playing certain game systems that are graying, but not the hobby or not even historical gaming. Not at all.
What I think's nice is that that series I've got on my channel about the Bolt Action basics. A lot of people who come from sort of it's like sci-fi gaming.
Yeah,
I've said they like the videos because they're simple and they like that. And I always say bolt action mechanics, they are simple and they're easy to learn, but they work. And I just find them enjoyable. I mean, I'll be honest, there's a few things I'd like to see changed with the game. Hopefully, will be present in 3rd edition, but we will have to see. I'm genuinely looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it. It's not often that I play games that get multiple versions of books. This is going to be quite a new thing for me. I'm looking forward to it. It should be quite interesting. Is that all the news?
That's all I've got. I'm sure I've missed something, but that's all I've got. So
right. I think we've got a couple of starred questions actually for you, Tim. Let's have a look. Okay. One from Carl. Where are we going from here to hear from the Mad Axeman podcast again? Really missing it.
Oh, that's a ridiculously generous question from my brother on this podcast. Honestly, it's a difficult one because we were like everybody during lockdown when that kind of hit. We had sort of a group of gamers and we started doing a weekly Zoom call, and then I just started recording it and editing it in Audacity and putting it out, and the people started listening to it, and because we were doing a ridiculous amount of painting, so we had quite a lot to add, and then we just started mucking around with different features. So it is difficult because we've all moved on, and you guys have got a rotating cast of characters, but some core people, and you've got a bigger community. We were a set of 6 or 7 people, and some people, do we swap? Can I really swap some out and start again? It's this really weird, problematic thing about going to do something that's now, and then we're actually playing toy soldiers instead of sitting at home and painting the bloody things and then talking about it. And Central London, we meet twice a week. So we're in a pub. We're not actually a club. We're an anarchist collective of people who just happen to meet at the back room of a pub at the same time. There's no rules, no committee. Every now and then we get someone coming in going, I think we should start having funds as owners. Like, right, we're marching you out the door. You're never going to be seen again. And it's been that way for about 30 years. So, but the pub has a back room that we use sort of from 2-ish, 3-ish on Mondays and Thursdays till close. And as long as we all drink a few beers and occasionally order a pizza, happy days. Nobody worries about any of this. No money changes hands or anything. And so we can go and play games twice a week and sort of see each other. And then some people have gone off doing different things and don't play as much. And it's sort of difficult to pull it all back together. So I keep wrestling with how do we restart something, but it's got to be different. But being different is kind of weird. So, the perennial problem of podcasts, how do you keep them going? I think you guys have done fantastic to keep this one, and for so many series and so many episodes, and keep adding these technical features. We were just chatting on Zoom, and I was just cutting the long ums and silences and coughs out on Audacity, and topping and tailing it with some music from the one we did. Actually have professional music. That was the best. That was the best thing about it. One of the guys at a club, is most of an 80s band called Apollo 440, which you may know from Don't Stop the Rock. And he listened to the first few when we were doing some sort of, crappy free music. And he goes, I was about to do a terrible Scouse accent there, but it should be wrong to Howard and wrong to anybody from Liverpool. But it's, they'd done this piece of music to submit as incidental music for Sons of Anarchy. And not being easy, do you want it? And I was like, yeah. And it's this sort of punchy thing that goes, this means war. And this is really fun. So that's by far the best piece of it. So actually, maybe I should just release that track.
Richie's and do music.
That'll just be it. Maybe. Just be the one. It's like the music for the podcast. But there's a few more video things coming out. I still do some video stuff on the YouTube channel. And various other bits and pieces, and all my rather slightly direct paper between us at times. I think sometimes. I don't know if you guys know what this question's about. No, you're both puzzled. So I write reports of battles in competitions I do, which are And then I put captions of the little soldiers going, "Oh, for fuck's sake, the bloke's what's he getting us to do this for?" It's kind of just, and then at the end, Hannibal, which was actually the salute special figure from about 10 years ago, critiques my performance as the commander of the army, and it's not usually favourable, to say the least. So yeah, I think it's yes, I think a world-class psychologist would probably make good money and several books out of that relationship, but now Hannibal's become Chat GPT powered, which is meaning he's becoming a bit divergent from me slightly, but I'm directing him rather than literally manifesting him. But
I was hoping for I did not know what that question was going to be about. I really didn't.
Honestly, I'll have to send you a link to some of the slightly more bizarre battle reports.
I'm glad you.
I like that idea. That's really clever.
Yeah, well, it's something I've been doing for about. Well, it's work when the website actually started. It was I was working on a trade show for cybersecurity. Any of your listeners in cybersecurity may know the Info Security trade show. InfoSec in London.
InfoSec, every year.
Yeah, I launched that and used to run it and manage it back in when it started off. So small world, and at the time that was before websites really. So we had to have a website for the show because it was an IT show, but the company I worked for didn't really do websites. So we got our IT manager's boyfriend to help design the first website. And it came, and I had email. I was the first person at my company to have external email. I had a little modem on my desk that went, because my customers were IT companies, and I inherited the web space that came with this email account. And because we were paying someone to do email to create a website, I ended up just doing some super basic stuff, and then it's kind of grew from there. Slightly weird.
Awesome.
Kept my earphone battery's just gone out, so I'm on a slightly different speaker if it sounds slightly weird.
No worries. Red Sven, I use Doc Direct. Alex from Storm and Steel recommended them, and they are brilliant. Dom, have you used them as well?
I use them all the time, mate.
Yeah,
they are awesome.
Yeah, absolutely really brilliant. So many options, great price, and their turnaround it's really, really good. I've never had to wait more than 3 days.
Wow.
No, they say it's going to be like a week or something, and it comes in 3 days. It's really. Never use the expedited version because you don't need to.
No,
you can pay for a quick one, but they come quick anyway.
And the quality of the binding is fantastic.
Very good,
absolutely brilliant. I've got a couple, O Group and Operation Squad, and Space Weirdos as well. They did Space Weirdos for me as well.
And the good thing is they don't judge you for the rules you send. Clearly.
Well, no. I mean, one shouldn't be judged just because I like Space Weirdos. It's
actually Post-it notes. Are you serious?
The reason I did it through them is I wanted it in the proper A5 staple zine, that the way it's meant to be, and I was not disappointed when they showed up. Brilliant. In fact, people at CrackCon got to see them, and they were rather happy for them. Dom. At the Tudor Bar, are we going to be forced to sit tables for tank bases and others for tank base haters? Oh, that's divisive, isn't it?
I love it.
Just if we are in the Tudor Bar, Don, go and see the woman behind the bar.
Yeah, chat her up, see what happens.
Scared the crap out of me last time. It really did. I thought it was a real human being. That's what happens if I go into a pub without my glasses and I can't see squat. And I saw this thing behind the bar. I was like, my God, she's about 150. And you got there and she was like 150.
Wow.
It was just
she was also
awful,
rubber.
Scary, like mannequin doll. It was just scared the bejesus out of me. It was frightening.
We once did a trade show up in this work thing, but up in Edinburgh. And we were doing it. And my boss at the time had just got obsessed with a pint of Heavey, So when we were planning to do all the work, he was like, "Oh, when you get there, you got to get a pint of Heavey, a pint." And we're just going, "Stop with this crap Scottish accent, mate." And we got there, and eventually we're in a bar in the Premier Inn or something where we're all staying. One of the lads I was with, he's my marketing manager. He eventually plucked up courage and said to the bar, "What would I get if I asked for a pint of Heavey?" She goes, "Yeah, get a smack in the mouth." But yeah, you got to be careful with that sort of stuff. Yeah, agree on it.
Good point from Steve here. He's hoping that they will also kickstart conflict as well.
That's an interesting one, isn't it? Because that's been sort of not gone anywhere for even longer than the original bolt action. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with that. Although, as Martin says, he loves the fact in conflict it has a reaction thing within it, which would be interesting if they put that back into bolt action.
They might do that. I'd like to see them do more with Korea. I just don't think that went anywhere.
No, it didn't. Did it?
And I actually bought that. I got that book the day it came out because me and my mate were really interested in playing it. And I went through the book, and I was looking forward to it, but it just seems to have never got the same traction as any of the other ones.
Because I guess with Warlord, it's got, they create the rules and the theme to sell sprues and figures. And that feels like somewhere where, you guys are more experts than me, but it feels like where they could own the space, which seems to be like what they like to do with other ranges. Here's the definitive Korean range, and then you do have to have like quite a lot of North Korean soldiers, which is a win if your job is making soldiers and selling them as well. So it feels like it's a possibility, doesn't it? Definitely.
It's odd. I think they do a lot of very good things, and I won't badmouth them because I think they do some terrific things, but they also do some really odd things, and I don't understand. It's like Tim Napoleon at Wargaming did a video this weekend, and he was talking about how long it's been since there's been a black powder supplement, and yet that must be one of their biggest sellers beyond bolt action. And yet they've done no supplements for.
We all end up saying it must be, but we all live in our own little silos around. And I suppose I always come at it from the other way and go, not what's way, but if you were trying to assume they are a rational entity, if they're not doing stuff with black powder, it's because there's a finite. Maybe maybe the answer is actually people who like Napoleonic games are even older and richer with bigger sheds than people who do other sorts of historic games, and they will spend an absolute fortune on that specific metal figure because they want that bit and that hat, and because that's the Napoleonic soldier mindset. So the plastic sprues, the people who buy them can't be asked to make the bloody things. I don't know, I'm unless it's for sharp practice, and which is where it starts to cross over with other types of orgs. But it's interesting trying to reverse engineer what
it
and
is.
why. But
sometimes it's obvious, and sometimes you're left scratching your head. And then I'm sure there is a very good reason for all the things they do, but sometimes it does escape you.
You can't please everybody. One last question for Tim from James. So, question on BritCon: any chance of future events with general non-competition gaming space that could say be booked for friends to meet up and game?
Yeah, look, this is. I can't believe. I must know this person. Yeah, this is exactly what my vision for BritCon is. So, for people who don't know, it's in the middle of Nottingham now. It's in a really great brand new venue. It's the Trent University Conference Centre opposite the Theatre Royal. It couldn't be any more central. There's student accommodation next to it. We've got a contract that covers the whole venue, which is far more space than we use at the moment. And so my vision is to get it as an event where people come to do gaming. It's not, it's got a trade show component. Some of that gaming is competitions, but the more non-competition stuff that can happen there, probably the best metaphor for it is the BHGS, which is kind of me and a couple of other people, have hired a really, really cool church hall with a bar and a War Games trade show and student accommodation just down the road. And if anybody who's a group who wants to come and take advantage of that sort of space from Friday lunchtime to late Friday night, 8 till 8 Saturday, sort of 8:30 till 4-ish Sunday, we'd love to hear from you to come and host your event or gathering or whatever in this shed, pretty nice shed, along with loads of other people, because that, you know, one thing we talk about quite a lot is how historical gaming is a lot of different silos, even within a historical period. And it's very rare for us all to get the chance to see each other. And my mate at the club plays this, and you play that, and Dave that I know up from Leeds plays this at the moment. But if we all come together in one place, you get to see a bit of the scale of the thing, and you can come down to the club, you can go out for a curry in Nottingham. Nottingham's a pretty good place because it's the centre of the world anyway. A lot of the vendors are there. So yes, there is absolutely ample space. There's some maths around running a venue of that scale at break even. Nobody gets paid for it. Me and one other guy at the moment, Kevin, get our accommodation costs covered, but and if anybody buys us a beer, that's a result. But that's literally the only costs which are not covered. Because of the way the venue works, we have to bring in tables, so we have to hire tables. That's effectively a per head cost. We have a model whereby we give everybody a packed lunch, because if you've got loads of competitions and loads of wargamers and a canteen, anybody who's been to any of the other shows knows that means you've got a terrible queue and lots of irritated people, and then you're late back for your game. So we now do packed lunch. Everybody walks in, picks up a bag of food. That's
a good idea.
Wash, done, straight out. You take it back to your table, have it whenever you want, which is nice and simple. And we also bake into the price a £5 voucher to spend with the traders, because if you don't do that, everybody just plays their games and never walks around the trade show. And you know, you're welcome to not spend it with the traders, but then you're paying me £5 for a 40mm round base, which if you want to buy any more, I'm more than happy. I've got loads. So yeah, there's some fixed costs, but it's contributing to a break-even thing, and the more people come, the better. So this, you know, we've got the Bolt Action GT. We've this year we've got Gripping Beasts bringing their Grand Melee for Saga, which was a great thing when it was held up at Derby back in the day, and trying to get that back in. We've got other groups bringing some of their other events. The aim is to lean towards historicals, and then maybe some of the other smaller non-historical systems. We don't want a big 40k tournament. That's not what we're about. They're well served already. There we go. Thank you. So it's just a lovely venue, really. And it just makes it. Lardies. We have a Lardy workshop in the nicest room in the building, but I'm not going to tell Richie he has to move ever. That's not really worth it, is it? And I'll just say, we mentioned the Perrys today. I was with the guys from WI and the Perrys. They're looking to take a side room to do a kind of almost their own event within an event. It's basically, it's a big tent with lots of small tents within it, for bill hooks and the Napoleonic sort of set that they do. Baron's War, of course. Yeah. We've got the wonderful Bartos, who is possibly my favorite TO, but obviously I love all the other ones as well, who's there. He's possibly the most enthusiastic man. And Footsore are going to be doing a thing that I'm not even sure I'm supposed to talk about, but some new stuff that they're going to be showing on the Sunday, and we've got a one-day Baron's War thing. So we've got about 20 odd competitions with different themes all happening, and we've got plenty of space for non-competitive gatherings as well. It's really,
when is it, Tim?
It's the second weekend in August, so it's the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's always been that, and I always get the dates wrong. So I think it's 9, 10, 11 this year, but it's that second weekend in August. It's the weekend after Claymore up in Scotland, and we've already got about 30 odd traders signed up. That's all on the bhgs.org.uk website in the BritCon bit. And if there's any groups wanting to say, right, we want to come, and to say absolutely. If there's another system that you want to bring, or you group want to bring, and have your event under this tent next to a trade show with a bar that this year won't run out of beer, because the bar's manager will listen to me about how much wargamers do drink. BritCon ale, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not sure." I think they are going to, and he ran out of his barrel by 8 o'clock on Friday. And the open bar at 6. But it was lovely beer, so we will be bringing a lot more this week. So yeah, it's really, if you've got a group of people who want to host an event, a gathering, if it's a competition or anything, get in touch with us through the BHGS website. We can talk about how the maths work. There is a real cost. There is no one making any money out of it. And you can bring all your community from all around the country or whatever and do whatever you wish. You can pop down you can visit the trade show. You can walk around the competitions. This year, we'll probably charge a couple of quid on the door, but there'll probably be some ways of getting free tickets. But if you want to see the venue, there's some videos from a couple of years ago, the first year we were in Nottingham, on the website still, I think. And it's the sort of students' conference centre. Other people will tell you how good it is. So it's just building a big tent for lots of other people to do the games organising stuff. Mm-hmm. And the BHGS does the tedious logistics and finance. So we're just making it easy for people to organise their own events by centralising the boring admin stuff. And the outcome is lots of different, mostly historical leaning war games, whether competitive or not, all happening at the same time. And at the end of some of them, someone gets a trophy. At the end of some of them, people just go for a curry and tell each other how wonderful their terrain was. It's good. 1 day, 2 days.
That sounds like an absolutely tremendous way to spend a weekend.
Mm. Well, it is kind of fun. I think people do well. You've seen a few people here. We get some really, really good feedback from it, and there's so many events which are either a show or a competition, or you're doing an event for just your silo, and it's going to bring your silo next to everybody else's silos, and realize how what's all going on here. And for the poor buggers who end up having to organize the logistics for standalone events, it just takes all of that stuff away. It's just we put the tickets on sale, we sell them through the website, and there's even, say, on-site student accommodation. They're student rooms. I can't, which is a student room. It's B&B, but it is 75 quid a night for the middle of Nottingham in the middle of August on a shopping weekend. So it's pretty good. You can find
nice stuff. Sounds like a good
venue and everything's together. And there's a Spoons that's about 5 minutes walk from the venue as well. So
you're selling it. You're selling
it. Yeah.
The whinging about the price of beer in that city is different to where I live, which is kind of the main Wargamers whinge about everything. Yeah, particularly close salute, I think.
Right, we're at 5 to 10 already. It's flown. So I think it's time we had a look at some of our viewers' pictures. So if you're not a member of the Facebook group, the link is in the description below. Don't forget to answer Dom's questions 3. Because me and Martin haven't been on duty recently, so Dom's been a bit more. He's been wielding the axe.
I'm not letting anybody in unless they answer the questions or they look like they're human. Because we had a few that don't look human.
So, we've had some pretty dodgy ones.
There's been some very, very interesting applications.
And some shyster who tried to rip off our T-shirts.
I know. We haven't even done this year's. Blimey.
What a scumbag. Right. So, as always, we can't show everyone's pictures, so I've just grabbed a good selection from the group this week. Again, fantastic group. Love seeing what people have been posting in there. Just for someone that's currently stuck in a bit of a block, it's been a bit of inspiration to get me off my arse and do a bit of cutting my thumb. So yeah, keep posting. Just keep posting. So up first, let's start off with something a bit weird. Well, not weird. It's from Anthony. It's at Blake 7.
Wow. I love it. That's great.
They're really good. I know Anthony's he's been painting I know he's painting the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles of the week as well.
Anthony's all over the place with it. It's just extraordinary what he does. I love it.
I think it's because he spent so long painting Napoleonics.
I think he went doolally, didn't he? Because he did virtually an entire division from Waterloo 1-to-1 scale, I think, pretty much. And then ever since then, I've seen just weird shit coming off his painting table.
Well, fair play.
Well, I mean, that's not that weird, to be fair. But,
no. Up next, World War II from Jonas. So this is it's actually a Panhard, but it's because it's in German service. It's a Panzersfahrwagen, I think is the way we pronounce it.
Very nicely done.
But yeah, lovely,
no base though, I'm afraid. Minus points for that.
Oh no,
there's a scale limit. It's like, that looks like it's just beyond the point at which base is. But then I'm very conscious that I'm stepping into someone else's minefield here.
Careful, Tim. Careful. You were doing so well. Careful.
Yeah. We do have to finish.
We're quite defensive about the basing of tanks.
Absolutely, I'm very aware.
Up next is Dan with Panzer Pioneer Abteilung 220.
Ooh, wow.
He's been smashing these out all over the place.
Wow, that's a lot of.
I tried to get a group shot. If you go to the Facebook group, he's got lots of close-ups of these, and I definitely recommend checking them out. Love the camo on the 251s. They're just really good stuff. Lewis is back with some Asagari.
Oh, no. Oh, look at how colourful.
Look at them. They're colourful.
Whoa. Love it.
I think really nice faces as well. Those really come out well on those guys, haven't they?
Yeah. They are
very good.
Yeah.
Very, very nice, Lewis. I think, are they 3D printed?
I was just going to say, they don't look like the horrible ones that you get from Warlords. They could be those new Fireforge ones or Fire.
It might be. I know. I only say it because I know a while back in the Facebook group he showed a big tub of 3D printed bits and pieces. So it's
kind of like if Mike Scorpion made Samurai, isn't it? Almost. Well, they're not Steel Fist, are they? No.
Don't think so.
I don't know.
Don't think so. Don't know.
Well, if you're in the chat, mate, pop a manufacturer there for us. Up next,
3Ds.
I thought it might have been. Martin with some more.
Gee whiz, that's great.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. So that's he's French, isn't he?
He is French ADC, I think.
Yeah.
That looks just like my stuff, apart from rather better.
You can tell it's French though because it's running away from the enemy. That's all I'm saying.
I was going to post up a picture of his drummer, but you know what I'm like with drummers. So if you haven't, go to the Facebook group and check out Martin's drummers. They're just
amazing,
stonkingly good. Really good work on that. I just couldn't do. I couldn't do. Up next is Lynn. She's been working more on her Baron's War stuff. A bit of freehand on the shields as well. Look at that.
Very nice.
Wow.
Very nice.
That yellow on that blue works really well.
It does.
Really well. That's some cracking freehand, that.
Yeah, very. I'm always in awe of people who do freehand on their shoes.
Crazy.
Yeah, I won't be doing that. No, I don't even try. So Matthew's been working some more on his old world stuff with some Dark Elf Executioners.
Mm-hmm.
They look a bit evil, don't they?
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, when you got 6 foot blades and you go by the name of Executioner, you're gonna ruin someone's day.
Things are not going to go well for somebody, that's for sure. Yeah.
The armor that he's painted on them is absolutely brilliant. Really good. It's good because it's clearly metallic, but it's not overly bright.
Yes, that's true. Actually, it's got a sort of muted,
definitely
almost a matte look to it. But it's not matte. It's nice.
Well, brilliant. Paul with his Manchester Regiment of Foot pike block.
Wow, very nice.
Oh, I had some of those figures. Yeah, I recognise the Warlord guys.
Yeah, the pike Warlord.
Yeah, very nice.
Lovely. Brilliant stuff. These, okay. These are 18 mil from Sean. Look at them.
Holy moly. Holy moly. They are beautiful things.
Wow. 4 ranks. But 4 ranks? Wow.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah.
I can feel the chest pains coming on. Even just the thought of opening paint with them.
He's even lurked some in the background just to show off that he's done.
He's done
it. This is not what he did one week, and the rest are at the back for the next week. Yeah,
he's done a whole lot. They're fantastic.
Very good.
Phil. Now these are from Phil, but these are the models are from Flank March. So Stefan from Flank March is sometimes in the chat.
Okay.
Cold War.
Oh yeah.
Now, I think Stefan's Kickstarter is currently on the go at the moment. He's done Russian naval infantry from World War II. At the moment, he's doing Cold War British. But the sculpts are fantastic. Very, very talented sculptor.
Yeah. I hear that GW are going to be selling those holders as well at about 15-20 quid each, aren't they?
But I think Phil's done a fantastic job on that camo, though.
Lovely.
That's one thing I cannot paint is camouflage, so I try and avoid it. Dom, here's one for you, mate.
Don't tell me. No, you have to tell me.
It's on the tip of your tongue.
Yeah,
it's Belial, Dark Angels.
Of course it is.
Of course, yes.
Of course. And I knew it was just you were getting there. You were getting there. I could certainly tell. Sunboss Samurai with Stuart. There you go.
Oh, now Dixon. They look like Dixons.
They're Dixon guys, for sure.
They're unmistakable Dixons, aren't they? Fantastic.
Now, Stuart actually had an accident a couple of months back. He had a motorbike accident. So I think he's been painting with his alternative hand.
Wow.
I mean, hopefully he's recovered now.
You bugger. I hate it when people do even better job with a wrong hand. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
We're not back to the butt plug story again, are we?
No.
Okay, fine.
And last but not least, this had to be shown. Dan's been painting core. These are absolutely brilliant, and I am. Every time I see these, my willpower and resistance diminishes ever so slightly, to the point where I think I may have to invest in these. But they are
love the baguettes in the
uniquely. It's just unique.
I've no idea what it is or what I do with it, but I do still want one. And there's so many extra little bits in it, isn't it? Is that like French bread in there?
Yeah, French bread.
It's French, isn't it? World War II French. Sort of World War One, World War Two French.
It's sort of World War One themed. The Royalists, I think, are supposed to be themed like French. So it's very odd. There is one more actually. I put it on because it came in very late, and we thought this was a cracker. So this one, this is Joseph's effort. Now there's a story behind this. He did this for his brother who underwent a quite serious heart operation, which was successful. So he thought he'd do it as a way to remind his brother to look after his health of his heart, which is a very interesting way of doing it.
That is fantastically painted. Just absolutely.
That's something else, isn't it? That
is truly amazing. So good message. Not sure. Well, brilliant. I don't know. It's a good message having somebody holding a heart in their hand, but anyway, whatever. If it worked, it worked. So there you go.
Message across to me. Yeah.
Good stuff. Right, so there we are. We're 6 minutes into overtime. You lucky people, you lucky people. Tim, absolutely fantastic. Really enjoyed that. I was
it's been top.
A really good chat.
All good. Glad I whizzed back down from Nottingham to slide in at some point in the middle of the session.
Thanks for taking it. We always appreciate it.
No problem.
People taking the time out to spend some time with.
Excellent. Well, hopefully I can see you guys all again.
Oh yeah.
Brilliant.
Possibly. Definitely.
Not in August. Whatever. Yeah.
So we'll be on Martin's channel next week, I think.
Yes. Have we got a subject?
Here it is. It is underrated games.
Oh yes.
Systems need a light shone on them. There you go. So get your suggestions in the suggestion box. Actually, it's really difficult. Facebook won't let us post the PCP to that anymore, so we'll have to find another way of doing it so you can make comments for it.
Doesn't that actually say undertated games? Is that like an Irish potato famine thing?
It does actually. You're quite right.
Games which would be better with more.
Blame Martin. He was probably drinking
something like that. Yeah. That would be the one.
Be a massive big thank you to everyone that's been spending their Monday night with us and contributing. As I said, we are sponsored by Boards and Swords. Check out their store. Use the code PCP5 when you're checking out for an additional 5% off your already discounted
I'm on there now.
Oh, right. And a big congratulations to Marky Sparky for winning the Windy Boat game stuff.
Yes.
Like I said, just get your details across to us in the email.
He's already done it, actually.
Has he already done it? That's
He's
keen.
already done
Very,
it.
very keen. He must be really keen on the rigging.
Planning. That's all good. No.
Yeah.
Right. So again, and a big thank you to everyone that's watching this on the catch up. I've got it all out the way.
Oh, well done.
All the boxes. I love it. What a
I know. I hate it.
You haven't seen him trying to find the video to switch off now.
I've actually found it here. Whether I end the stream properly is another thing altogether. Well, thanks everyone for checking out the podcast tonight. Like Dom said, we are over on Martin's channel next week for underrated games that need a light shine on them. So enjoy your week, everybody, and we'll all see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.